stars sparkled through the sweet gum tree. I steeled my spine, stomach, and liver for the evening ahead of me. Had to start it off with turtle soup and gin martinis at Commander's Palace. The night I ate New Orleans, the night I ate New Orleans, the night I ate New Orleans. New Orleans stole my heart. First stop, Muffaletta, Central Grocery, it was worth the wait. Next stop, Jambalaya. I went to Coop's place and I cleaned my plate. Oysters Rockefeller at Antoine's, and then to Brennan's for bananas Foster. The night I ate New Orleans, sing it. The night I ate New Orleans, yeah. The night I ate New Orleans, New Orleans stole my heart. Stole my heart and gave me heartburn. Heartburn all the whole next day. Oh, but now I feel my heart yearn for some fresh beignet and crawfish etouffee at Felix's. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, day, 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 day. The night I ate New Orleans, sing it. The night I ate New Orleans, the night I ate New Orleans, New Orleans stole my heart. The night I ate New Orleans from 2019's NOLA record. I hope you had a good Mardi Gras and indulging in great food and pleasures on Tuesday night, because now it's ashes. 6 weeks of ashes, 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 and no candy. Welcome to Susie on Sundays on February 21st. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. Thanks for tuning in last week for the Valentine's Day show of your requests and dedications. We're thinking of our friends in Texas tonight. It's been kind of a rough week, is probably an understatement. Hope life is starting to return to something like normal. Speaking of Texas, today I discovered a songwriter I'd never heard of before named Larry Joe Taylor. Some of our friends in Texas, have you heard of this guy? Have you seen this guy? He's a good songwriter. I'm really grooving on Larry Joe Taylor today. Next week's Susie on Sundays theme will be I Enjoy Being a Girl. And yes, this will be fun. I'll take your requests for songs about whatever that means to you, being a girl. You can start tossing the requests in now into the comments, and road manager Jane will take notes on all of that. And I'll put up a few posts this week asking for your song ideas too. I have an upcoming event. I want to let you know about the Sisters Song School, March 5th, 6th, and 7th. And no, this is not, Sisters is not an updated Michigan Women's Festival. It's actually Sisters are two mountains that sit next to each other out in Oregon. It's near Bend, Oregon, and they have a great music festival. And so I'm going to teach at their song school that weekend, March 5th, 6th, and 7th. So I'm super excited about tonight's show. My guest tonight is a guy I've known since 1997. He produced a record called Time Between Trains that I did for Bottom Line Records, We recorded most of it at his house outside Nashville, and he played on every track, and he played like 4 different instruments on every track. He's one of the most musical human beings alive today, and that is not an overstatement. I'm thrilled we're finally getting to do a show together. We've been talking about doing this for the last couple of years, and through the miracles of technology and pandemics, this show is finally happening. So, friends, please welcome to the program from his home outside of Nashville, Darrell Scott.
Aloha.
Yo, Darrell.
Hey, Susan. Good to see you. It has been a long time.
And you are outside Nashville, but you said in between Nashville and Knoxville.
Yeah, and slightly north. So in the Cumberland Plateau is what it is.
See, we don't even know. I don't even know it. The Cumberland Plateau. It sounds lovely. I don't even know where that is. No one knows. We don't know these things.
Basically, it's this plateau thing that happens between Nashville and, say, the Smokies, the Appalachian stuff, that kind of rises up, flattens out for about 40 miles, dumps down, and then you fall right into the next rise up is the Appalachians. This thing goes from kind of northern Georgia, Alabama-ish, all the way through Kentucky. It's a major plateau system, basically.
But it is not a mountain. It is not at all. Right.
No, and I don't understand this stuff, but it's actually the trash heap of making mountains millions or something years ago. Wow. And I'm sure there's some, smarter people than myself who actually know. But I hear a plateau is almost like the trash heap of them making the Appalachians, whoever the them were.
So it's a Paleolithic New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have so many questions for you, but I want to ask you if you'll play a song for us so we can all, the folks that don't know the great Darrell Scott, can hear some Darrell Scott tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I walked into the lounge of the Windsor Arms Hotel, where a band was playing 50 songs, the ones we know so well. And they played just like the record, not a note was out of place. And they finished with Good Night, Sweetheart by the guy who played the bass. As he walked by the table, well, I offered him a beer, and I said I was a player too. I had been for many years, and we talked about the business, all the years out on the road. How forever sweet 16 was such a hell of a heavy load. And he said, I could have made it once if I'd have listened to a friend who had set up this audition with a 50s group back when. But it was 1967 and I had dreams of moving on. The man who could have played bass for Sha-na-na, Sha-na-na, Sha-na-na-na, singing Sha-na-na, Sha-na-na-na. He said, I see them on the TV shows every now and again, and I see my buddy up there playing the saxophone just the way he did back then. Oh, we used to play the circuit, any dive that had to pay, but we'd have done it all for nothing just to get a chance to play. He said, I talk to my family on every Sunday night, and I tell them where I'm working next and how the band is getting tight. And my children always ask me how much longer I'll be gone. Yeah, the man who could have played bass for Sha-na-na, Sha-na-na, Sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na, sha-na-na-na. That's the sing-along part. Sha-na-na, sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na, sha-na-na-na. We all have our stories, but how we try but can't forget, and how we sit in contemplation and we lick our own regret. There's the one we could have married, there's the job we could have had, and there's the winning run we could have hit if we had a more loving dad. And there's the house we could have bought when the prices weren't so high. And there's the loving words we could have said before that loved one died. There's the roads we could have traveled and the one we traveled on and on and on and on and on and on. And there's the man who could have played bass for sha-na-na, yeah, sha-na-na. Sha-na-na. Oh, sha-na-na, sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na. Oh, sha-na-na. Sha-na-na, sha-na-na, sha-na-na.
Three songs in one, right? I love how you built it out, right? Because did it come to you to put the sha-na-na-na? Did that come to you later after you had the whole song together to put that in there, or?
I'll bet it did. You know, I remember the verses, and then it needed, I guess, that, you know, chorus capital K thing.
Yeah.
And then there's the sha-na-na situation. Making it that chorus, and then the sing-along, of course, the proverbial sing-along.
But the sha-na-na thing really, like, it completes it, right? It moves it into a, it makes it, right? It is the thing you're singing about. It is exactly the thing you're singing about.
Yeah, and it's the sing-along part, and there's not much to remember about it.
No,
you know,
it's kind of a relief, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when you write wordy songs, right?
That's right. And sometimes when you write wordy songs or linear songs, let's say like you know, folk music has that tradition of, you know, tell the story, you know, like a long story, like Edmund Fitzgerald, right?
Right.
Now that doesn't have a chorus. It doesn't need one because the writing is so amazing and it's a story.
But it has a hook, right? La 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 la.
That's right.
It plays
That's
in between. Right. There's an instrumental. That's kind of the chorus.
That's right. That's the relief, and now we're ready for some more of the story.
Right.
And then he hits it again and tears it up as a lyricist, and then we go back to da 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 da, and masterful. Gordon Lightfoot is a master, no question.
I like how you have a sense of relief, right? How much the listener can digest, And I feel like the strongest songwriters have an ear for that. It's like a natural ear for how much you can ask people to tune in and stay with something. And when they start to like, look at their watch or like touch their glasses, right? Which is death, right? You know this. You're playing a song and somebody goes like, "It's like, oh, you lost them, right? Yeah.
The way I think about it, and I talk a lot about this in my songwriting workshops, which is it's our job, we the writers, we the performers, whatever we are, to hold the attention from the top of the song to the end. And that's our job. If we've lost them, that's our fault. That's not the listener's fault.
Right.
Per se, if we let them kind of off the hook somewhere. That's our job to kind of string it along and rise and fall if that's the deal or whatever. But to me, that's a real deal. Like, when does the listener need a break?
Yeah.
And when can they come back in? And all that kind of stuff. I'm very sensitive to that. That's part of arranging in a way. But it's also songwriting, but it's arranging too. Arranging can be part of that help that pulls the song along. The same song, given an arrangement twist, is needed.
That's right. Yeah, because the producer or an arranger can say, "Hey, we need a break here," right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
My guest tonight, Darrell Scott, and one of the finest songwriters working today for sure. And I'm happy to connect with him again after all these years. I'm going to play a song now that I hope the architecture holds up. Now I'm wishing there was a Shana now in the middle, but I'm going to do this song anyway. Out where the prairie grass waves in the wind, and where the sunsets last forever, that's where I fell in love with him. But did I see this coming? Never. Manhattan, Kansas, we all do what we gotta do. I did what I did, and I surely don't blame you. I simply needed for things to turn out differently. Oh, Manhattan, Kansas, can you understand me? I was a college girl from out of state. He was a rancher from Salina. And when I told him I was 3 weeks late, he said, I can't be a father. Manhattan, Kansas, we all do what we gotta do. I did what I did, and I surely don't blame you. I simply needed for things to turn out differently. Oh, Manhattan, Kansas, can you understand me? The longest sidewalk I will ever see, volunteers walking either side of me, people crying, praying rosaries. But all of that was many years ago. Now I'm out in Pennsylvania. I watch my lovely daughters as they grow, and I keep some flowers on the table. Manhattan, Kansas, I thought of that song because of the backstory element of it, right? Like the man who could have played bass for Sha Na Na, right?
Yeah.
I like how songs, right, if they do this, telescope
Uh-huh.
back, right? Oh, there's that. Oh, there's that and that
Uh-huh.
and that and that. And you're really a master of that. The Never Leave Harlan Alive, and just so much story in that.
Yeah. Great song there.
Oh, thanks, dear.
Susan, great song. Absolutely.
Thank you, dear. I remember working on the record, and you were reading the New Yorker, and I'm like, this dude from Kentucky plays his ass off on guitar and reads the New Yorker. Who is this guy? Like, what is he? You're putting a lot together, right? Musical, but also storytelling and writing, and
Well, it was that time I spent in New England. I spent 9 years in New England
Yeah.
before I moved to Nashville. I mean, and that's where I picked up a little of that kind of stuff, I suppose.
time in New England took you away. I was going to ask you before we talk about some of the luminary people that you've worked with. I did want to ask you about because every songwriter has a story. Every guitar player, singer, songwriter has a story about the worst gig ever.
Yeah.
So I would like, if you wouldn't mind telling our audience about the worst gig in your, to date, there could be a worse one ahead yet.
Oh, of course. It'd have to go a long way to beat this one. So there's a longer story here, but I'll try to hit all the stronger points. Basically, we were having trouble with this gig from the get-go. Like, we get these gig offers, months ahead of time. They're supposed to send in a deposit in some cases, right? And there's flags along the way that says, hey, they're engaged, they've booked, they've signed a contract, different things that'll tell you. And then there are also flags that'll tell you, like, something's going on here, right? You know this, right?
Yeah.
Right? You know this.
Yeah.
So anyway, this gig came in, and it was starting to look like a problem. Just like no communication, no deposit, and yet, is this thing on? Is it not on? Anyway, I got word about it. Oddly enough, I was in New York City, in Manhattan, and the very morning that I found out that my friend Guy Clark had passed, the very morning, this gig, the agent calls in an hour or two later and saying, that gig that we're seeing all the flags about is kind of still being problematic. And I literally said, you know what? I don't need this on this day. Get us out of the gig. It's done.
Right.
There's been enough horse stuff going on.
Right.
Get us out of the gig. And I was working with someone at the time who wanted to, make it all right. And so they saw it as their job to kind of do that. And so they didn't have the gig go away, and it stayed in place. But all the flags kept showing up even as we got closer, a couple months from Guy's passing. And it's like, in my gut, that we don't need to be here. Well, it turns out we did go. First thing through, Angela, my wife, who's the road manager, she goes in knowing that this is a problematic gig and says, we need the check before my musicians get out of the truck.
That's right.
And then he says, no, I'll pay you. No, you don't understand. We need the check. All that
Right
kind
now.
of stuff.
Yeah, right now.
He slammed his beer down, drives to his home, gets the check, brings it back, hands us the check, and it gets worse from there. Incrementally worse. The backstage where the green room was dirt floor because they were doing construction.
Oh, no.
Like dirt floor. And just nasty. There's a front act that we were never told about, but that's okay. We roll with these things. Okay, front act. Okay, gotcha. And then I'm on stage, and it just is getting worse and worse. Just the general vibe. The people are fine. People are always great. It's meaning the audience. And then I'm on stage, and Angela sees somebody carrying my guitar case out the back door. Oh, no. And it's canary yellow. I could show it to you. It's canary yellow. You can't miss it. Oh, no. And she runs back, and what are you doing? Well, I'm getting my friend's case, the opener. Well, that's not his case. There must be something else, and on and on. Anyway, it goes on and on and on. The guy gets drunk, the one with the beer.
Oh, great.
He finally has to leave because he's so drunk, and his partner takes over. And here's the last part of it. We're finally almost out of there. We got through this night. And my dog, Miller, who is a very sensitive soul, everything's, we're kind of trying to get over this night and get out of there. The guy, his partner, says, good night, hey, sorry about my friend, my partner, and all that. And then he leaves, but he comes back and said, I forgot to say goodbye to Miller. He bends down into Miller's face, and Miller nips at his mouth, and he starts bleeding. And then the hotel they were going to have for us is like, we're not staying where they think we're going to stay. We're driving the 2 hours for tomorrow's gig tonight. Right. And turns out the guy had to go to the hospital just to get it cleaned out, and I needed to pay for his.
Oh, great!
And he said, hey, it's my fault. I know better. I have dogs. I know better than to get in a dog's face. So whatever money I made that night went to the hospital. And that's the good news, because it could have gone a lot worse than that. We know that. So
did the check bounce?
No.
Okay,
but I just handed it over, so to speak, to the hospital.
Right.
So to me, that's a pretty bad gig.
I think any dog bite gig is bad.
What's that?
Dog bite gig is always bad. Always bad.
So that gets into there because I knew better.
Yeah.
I knew better.
Yeah. We kind of know, don't we? There's an intuition
know.
like, this is not really, these people are not serious.
Yeah, we know this stuff. We can't do this as long as we have and not know. We know this stuff.
No, now we're old enough, we know. We can say no to things.
Yeah.
Play us another Darrell Scott tune. How'd that be?
That'd be real good. Okay, so I'm following your prairie story, right? I know yours was Manhattan, Kansas, and rancher, then out-of-state college student and all that. It was beautiful. Made me think of this one. So I married Angela, who was from Nebraska, Prairie State. And this song I wrote about our courtship. And right about now, the Sandhill Cranes are showing up in Nebraska right now. That shows up in the first verse. I will meet you in Nebraska, where the Platte runs muddy and wide, and the crane come for the feeding. I'll be standing by your side. Summer winds will stir the sand hills. Trader clouds may dim our view, but we'll be watching from the window for the shadows to turn to blue. Give me something to believe in when this world turns dark and cold. Tell me sunlight's shining somewhere, and dreams are bought but never sold. Give me love and in abundance. Give me love that never dies. There's no light in all creation like the light in my angel's blue eyes. And when the leaves turn in the autumn, gathered up to make our bed, daylight flickering neath the branches, and my arm a pillow for your head. Oh, I will meet you in the morning from the longest night of the year. Winter's blanket freezing all around us. I'll be there, babe, to hold you near. Give me something to believe in when this world turns dark and cold. Tell me sunlight's shining somewhere, dreams are bought but never sold. Give me love in abundance. Give me love, love, love that never dies. the light in my angel's blue eyes.
Lovely.
Thank you, thank you.
Nebraska.
Uh-huh.
I have a Nebraska song.
I'll bet you do. I'll bet you do.
Oh, Nebraska, how I love you. How I love your windswept skies and your prairies, winding rivers, and the western hills that rise high above the plains. Somewhere in the distance I can hear a train singing, oh, Nebraska, my true love, I am never leaving you again. Land of kindness, land of plenty, land of peaceful dreams at night, stars that fill the dark. I can hear the calling of a meadow lark singing, oh, Nebraska, my true love, I am never leaving you till the day my days are through. I am never leaving you again.
Yeah, like that.
Just a tiny little hymn, right?
Yeah. But what I found is that folks from the prairie make a connection to that landscape, that sky, those winds.
Forever.
Those sandhills, yeah, and there's something intrinsic, there's something just that never goes away.
For life.
Yeah.
When I can't sleep on the road, I listen to Sounds of the Prairie, like on Spotify. Do you know?
Literally like environmental sounds?
Yeah, environmental sounds. And just
Wow.
that amount of space brings me back to my childhood. That much room in Iowa on the farm. That much room.
You know, we've talked about that. I remember you saying that there's something about a writer or yourself who has that as their landscape versus, like, say, city, you know, tall buildings as a landscape, or hollers like around in here, or, you know, Appalachia or whatever. And that there's something to it. There's almost a mode, a mood, a something, right?
There's enough room.
What is it?
There's enough room. You can see a storm coming from 10 miles away.
Right.
Really, you don't get surprised. You're like, oh, right, here it comes. And then you watch it.
What is the difference you feel that makes as an artist or a writer, an observer, or whatever that it is?
I just think if
that
you're
is?
left alone enough, you'll become a writer, you know, whether you're in a holler or a city building.
And being alone with that big sky.
Yeah, I think isolation is an artist's friend, you know. You have to make your own
Absolutely.
entertainment, which you did, I think, as a kid probably.
Yeah, well, I grew up in a family band. All my brothers and my dad, you know, so it was communal, meaning the kitchen or the living room. But that extra kind of kick stuff was, writing on my own or whatever. That was the privacy. That's like I don't show my diary either, at 13.
Right.
And so those are the private. Yeah, that's where the isolation style stuff comes from.
Right.
And I learned to hide that at those ages.
But playing music in a social setting, like around the house like that with your dad, that's part of country music. And if you wouldn't mind, I want to talk a little about some country artists that you've done some work with that maybe our audience may not be aware of. Darrell's history in country music, and he's worked with a whole lot of luminary and interesting people. And I want to ask you a little about how it's sort of one of your first big numbers was when the Dixie Chicks did Long Time Gone, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
How did they learn about that song? Was it Lloyd Maines who heard it, or how'd that happen?
The Chicks were a fan of me and Tim O'Brien. So Tim and I put that on a record called Real Time somewhere in the late 90s, 97, 98, 99, somewhere around in there, seems like. And they were a fan of ours because, there were the two, the banjo and fiddler,
The sisters, yeah.
The sisters came from a bluegrassy place. They went to festivals as kids and all that stuff. So they knew who Tim was, and they were fans of that record. And so off of that same record, their next record, the one with Lloyd producing, their Natalie's dad, was Long Time Gone of mine, and then More Love of Tim's. Both of those songs were on our record, and then the Chicks did it on their next record. And so they were fans, they were listeners, they had the record, basically.
Yeah, that's great.
And I find that, with this Nashville career that I've had, I don't know, 25-ish years of I find that songs stick to folks when they come from more of a fan point of view as opposed to getting pitched.
I think that's
like, how many times a day does an act get pitched, or a manager of an act, or a label of an act, or, you know what I mean? Pitch. I think you could go, just not even hear anymore. Yeah. But when they find it on their own somehow or another, whoever that might be in a camp, a label, or management, or an artist or whatever, that's what I've found sticks. It comes in and does something different than the pitch.
Well, I'm another fan of yours, and much admiration and love, for your songs from early on. Would you mind? I'm going to do two things. I'm going to ask the audience if they have questions for Darrell. Go ahead and put them in the comments, and I'll look at those. And would you be kind enough, Darrell? Would you play that tune for us?
Yeah, Long Time Gone. Absolutely. Let me find this thing here. That sounds right. Now Daddy sits on the front porch swinging, looking out on a vacant field. Used to be filled with burning tobacco, now he knows it never will. Brothers found work in Indiana, sisters a nurse at the old folks' home. Mama's still cooking too much for supper, and me, I've been a long time gone. Yeah, long time gone. I ain't hold a road since I don't know when. Long time gone, and it ain't coming back again. Now Delia plays that old church piano, sitting out on her daddy's farm. She always thought we'd be together. Lord, I never meant to do her harm. Said she could hear me singing in the choir. Me, I heard another song. I got waved and hit the road running. Good God, I've been a long time gone. Yeah, long time gone. Well, I ain't had a prayer since I don't know when. Long time gone, and it ain't coming back again. to be the big deal, playing down on Broadway, getting there the hard way, living from a tip jar, sleeping in my car, hawking my guitar. Hey, I'm gonna be a star, a big, 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 big star. Now me and Delia sing every Sunday, watching the garden and the children go. We listen to the radio to hear what's cooking, but that music ain't got no soul. Now they sound tired, but they don't sound haggard. They got money, but they don't have cash. They got Junior, but they don't have Hank. I think the rest is a long time ago. Well, I ain't honked the horn since I don't know when. Long time gone, and it ain't coming back. I said a long time ago. Well, I ain't hit the roof since I don't know when. Long time gone, and it ain't coming back again.
Darrell Scott on Susie on Sundays. You like that applause? You need an applause button in your shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing about these gatherings we do. We're missing. We know there's an audience out there, or we hope so.
Can't feel them. Can't feel
That's
it.
right. And so there's that weird feeling at first of, you know, normally you're supposed to hear that stuff, you know, the applause, but we get over it pretty quickly, I find.
Well, yeah, we can do the thing anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? You can do it anyway, but there's no heat. That's the thing. There's no heat, right? And even the length of that song, when you get to the verse of like the Haggard and the Cash, and it's just that's one of the best verses in like history of country music. And that verse is so good, and you just feel the heat as the song goes on. You know, people are listening. You can feel people listening. That I miss that sense, right? That people really, the stillness in the room when people are following a thread. We have a question from Andrea Hodgins Osborne about the Band of Joy experience when you were out with Patty Griffin and Robert Plant, and like, did you ever like freak out and say, "Oh my God, this is Robert Plant"? I mean, you're Darrell Scott, you don't have to freak out, but I would freak out a lot if that was like, if I was playing for the lead singer of Led Zeppelin. I think there would be a freak out moment. Did you have a moment of like, whoa?
You know, I didn't. And mostly what I was seeing was that I'm in a cool group.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're in a group with Buddy Miller on guitars and Patty Griffin on acoustic, and then right in the center is Robert Plant, and then I'm the multi-instrumentalist guy. I was playing pedal steel and fretless banjo, and then I'm also singing. A lot of the singing was me and Patty and Robert. Mm-hmm. And so to harmonize with those two, and then switch leads with Buddy, I was in awe of that. The singer in me loved that, singing with those two, and then the player in me loved switching out, a lead role, if you will, with one of the best lead guys out there, Buddy Miller.
Yeah, it's got to feel super fun, right? The evening must just fly by because you are just totally engaged by every moment of every song, right? So much musicianship around you.
Yeah, and we were the kind of thing, and by Robert's leading, I wouldn't call us a jam band. We weren't a jam band, but every night was kind of different. We definitely had a general arrangement, but when there were moments to where it could open up and go somewhere, it did.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Robert would do it as a vocalist. I mean, he would just, he loved those moments.
Yeah, he can, right? He can just elevate, and then there's a whole nother gear.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like, and so there's a jam part of me that likes to get out there and get out on a limb and not know how to get back. And that band could handle that. We could do that kind of stuff, and that was fun about that.
Well, that's the nature, right? That's what jazz is. But I think also bluegrass, country have the same, feeling when you're in those zones. Like, we don't know how we're going to get out of this problem we just created for ourselves, and we're going to watch each other do it now. How are we going to get out of this?
And it happens.
Yeah, and when it happens, there's this big, dopamine rush. Like, what? my guest tonight, Darrell Scott, and I'm going to play a song from a project that I called you about last year because I was looking to do a record, and I thought I was going to do it in Nashville, and then pandemic hit, and that was the end of that. So this country record got made in South Philadelphia, like they do, and
Cool.
so this is a tune from Flyover Country that came out last year. Yeah. Daddy had a good year, Mama gave the all clear, Daddy hurried into town. Wasn't gone a long while, coming from a half mile, we already heard the sound. It was a steel marshmallow, butter creamy yellow, dented all across the hood. Dented it on both doors, Daddy said a hailstorm really does a wallet good. El Dorado, Lord, how Daddy loved that car. El Dorado, bigger than the whole front yard. Catalina, station wagon wasn't no fun. El Dorado, shining in the golden sun. Woo! It was a Cadillac front to back, matching yellow hubcaps, padded yellow vinyl roof. Longer than a school bus, Lord, it was a big cuss. Swear that thing was bulletproof. It had seats like a sofa, leather all over, genuine fake wood trim. Going for our first ride down along the lakeside, saw my mama smile at him. Sing it! El Dorado, Lord, how Daddy loved that car. El Dorado, bigger than the whole front yard. Catalina, Catalina, station wagon wasn't no fun. El Dorado, shining in the golden sun. They say you can't buy happiness, but Daddy would have told you yes. Yes, happiness, it will prevail. Just wait until it goes on sale. Take it, Darrell. Woo! El Dorado, dimples really make the smile. El Dorado, 20 gallons to the mama. El Dorado, Lord, how Daddy loved that car. El Dorado, bigger than the whole front yard. Catalina, station wagon wasn't no fun. El Dorado, shining in the golden sun. El Dorado, may that big car forever run. Yeah. Yeah. Did you play where you were supposed to play?
Yes, I did. I did.
You could feel the break coming, couldn't you? It was like, okay, we gotta have a little break.
Yeah, and then we come back home, at the end,
Come back home.
and then just glide right across the skate right across the finish line.
Yeah, yeah. I look forward to a time if we ever get to play at the same time because they're working on latency. I know that somebody's going to solve it eventually, that we're going to get to do a thing,
Right, yeah, that seems like that should have already happened. I think it has
Yeah.
in fancy pants kind of situations.
Yeah, which my show is not, unfortunately.
Yeah, neither in any of my stuff either, but I think it exists. I think studios maybe can talk to other studios in real time, or, digital NPR stations can talk to another digital NPR station.
Well,
Maybe.
speaking of solving latency, the original Amish low-tech latency was you just sit next to somebody, right?
Right.
That way you play at the same time because you can hear them. And this brings me to, Darrell is going to lead a tour, a rafting trip of the Salmon River in Idaho.
Yeah.
if I have this right, on September 22nd through September 27th. And it's going to be you and
Greg Brown.
Greg Brown, the
one
pride
of my favorite
Iowa.
writers and singers and cats. And I'm not leading it, hopefully, in terms of the boats and all that.
Well, yeah,
We
I
would
think
be
someone
in
else
big-
does that.
Yeah, someone else does that, but me and Greg will sit around at night around the campfire
So awesome.
thing and sing and play songs and flop back and forth, kind of like what we're doing here, I would imagine,
Oh, man,
is what we'll do. And,
that's going to be magic.
It is magic. I've done that trip just as a solo guy. I mean, meaning, I'm the only one singing or playing. But then a lot of guests bring their guitars or banjos or whatever. Yeah. And then after, that they can play right into the sun coming up if they want to. But that is my unplug of the year.
Yeah.
That's the only gig that stood last year of the bookings because it was an outdoor gig. And we took all of our precautions and all that stuff. And it made all the difference if you've been cooped up all year and then you finally get out on the Salmon River, floating down for about 5-6 days, whatever it is. They're cooking for you. All we had to do was put up our own tent and take down our tent.
See,
Everything
I won't
else-
even do that. I'm not even doing that. I was asked to do this tour once, and I thought about it. And I'm like, oh no, because I had a chat with Greg Brown backstage at Rocky Mountain Folks Fest once. This all kind of ties together in this funny way. So I was talking to Greg Brown, and he said, "Yeah, the greatest gig is where you go right from the stage to the river to fish, because you can do that at Rocky Mountain, right?"
Absolutely.
And I said, "Yeah, my favorite kind of gig is where you go right from the stage to the Marriott." And he didn't laugh he didn't laugh.
Yeah.
But this is going to be a great trip. I know it is. You and Greg Brown out on the Salmon River, the rafting.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's special.
It's very special. And the two of us, I've been a fan of his forever, but we only really played together one time. And it was like we played together for 25 years, type of thing.
He keeps really good time. He just sits on it like a big foot. He just sits right on it.
Yeah. So that and the Salmon River, beautiful nights, beautiful river. That's what we're going to do in late September.
If people want to sign up for that, it's IdahoRivers.com is the site. Yep.
Yep, absolutely.
You have an interesting looking thing there in your hand there, some kind of Git Mando thing?
Yeah, it's kind of a bouzouki, possibly body, but it's a banjo tuning on it, and it's got strings instead of steel strings. So it's a weird little thing. Mm-hmm. But I thought I would drag a weird little thing into your Sunday night thing, And so, I thought I'd maybe do this song right here. It's kind of a light thing. So basically, nylon strings, a banjo on a mandolin body, let's say. And that's what this is here. This is a song I wrote as a poem in a poetry class in college as an assignment. And then I realized, wait, this could make a song. So I turned it into a song, and that was forever ago, 30 plus years ago. It's called Helen of Troy, Pennsylvania. The first time we really took a chance, view the world behind our fathers' backs. We left our parents playing rummy by the cottage porch light, and we were walking down to Helen's on that sweet summer night. And we flipped a coin to see who would have to knock when she opened up her door and asked us in. Helen of Troy, Pennsylvania. Well, she was was twice the age of me and Tony. Brown-eyed, recently divorced and lonely. And we lied about our high school football team. #1 in the state because of Tony and me. And we've ripped her, and she sensed our awkwardness and unzipped her cotton dress and called us over to kiss her one at a time. One at a time, boys. Hey! Helen of Troy, Pennsylvania. Well, we rocked to the drone of large mosquitoes, rhythm of moths against drumhead screen, syncopation of Frigidaire motor, with a bobtail cat looking at us real mean, real mean. Helen of Troy, Pennsylvania. She went to the kitchen to get us something to drink, and me and Tony washed ourselves in the bathroom sink, doing the chicken neck, the high five, and the monkey noise. Glad to be happy, healthy, heterosexual boys. And we drank her herbal tea. And good golly, Miss Marley'd all the way home. Helen of Troy, Pennsylvania. Oh, good golly, Miss Marley. Helen of Troy, Pennsylvania.
Helen of Troy, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I'm glad you played that because a bunch of people were requesting that. So it's like,
Wow, that's
you
crazy.
have to try it out. That's awesome.
That's crazy.
What a great song. So many specifics, and it was like serious and lighthearted all at the same time. It's like, whoa, it's super, super great. So,
Thank you.
as some of my friends out there know, Darrell produced a record for me called "Time Between Trains," and I'll do a song from that record now. And this is a song that Darrell played bouzouki on. Do you still own your bouzouki?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I've added like 3 other bouzouki's to it.
Because you can never have enough bouzouki's.
No, except when you go through the airport, it's an octave mandolin.
Why is that?
Because it sounds too much like another, a bazooka. That's why.
Oh, no. For real?
Yeah. What's in the case?
Oh,
An
I
octave
see.
mandolin.
Oh, uh-huh. Yes, Mr. Scott. What is that, Mr. Scott? Mr. Scott, would you like to come over here for a moment?
Yeah,
yes.
with my octave mandolin, sure.
Right, got it. So this is one that Darrell played on. The old lady at the greenhouse said that will be $7.50, please. You drove us down the gravel roads, I held it balanced on my knees. You said we'd keep it inside so the branches wouldn't freeze. And I asked you what would happen if we just let it grow. And you said some trees are meant to reach. You said reach up for the sky. Some trees we trim to keep them pretty, like bonsai, bonsai. Winters and then summers, and then I was 17. Packed up my wool sweaters and my possibilities, and we cried the day you left me at the university. And it was something I remember as I watched you turn and go, that some trees are meant to reach. You said reach up for the sky. Some trees we trim to keep them pretty, like bonsai, like bonsai. And some trees we trim back. Some hands we tie, some wings we clip, and some feet we bind. 1948 it was, and you were 12 years old, dreaming about high school, and you asked if you could go, and your mother said, even very clever girls are better off at home. Some trees are meant to reach, reach up for the sky. Some trees we trim to keep them pretty, like bonsai, like bonsai, like bonsai, like bonsai. Some trees we trim back, some hands we tie, some wings we clip, some feet we bind, like bonsai. Yeah, you did a cool thing over it. It was like, it was really the harmonies of the bouzouki laid across it was just so, wow, multi-layered.
You know, one of the things I like about the bouzouki or the mandolin family of instruments is they're based in fifths.
Right.
For the music geeks out there, but I know you're a music geek.
Sorry, here's a fifth, right? Here's a fourth, here's a sixth, but a fifth is
and
like,
the guitars are based on fourths-ish.
Right.
There's that little odd third in there, but basically it's a fourth. So I like monkeying around in the mandolin or bouzouki-styled world because there's just a different sound there in that fifth land. There's something, it's even in... right in the Wizard of Oz they did that, right?
Well, there's something about playing an instrument that maybe isn't your first one that you kind of have accidents, happy accidents onto,
Absolutely.
like, whoa, what's that? Hey, tell us about that
Absolutely.
guitar you're playing right now. What
This
is that?
thing?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if they can see that. Do you see a crop circle on the 12th fret?
A crop circle.
Yeah.
Wow, yes. Wow.
And then see, it's made out of barn board.
Uh-huh.
See, this is a hole in this instrument. Where is it? I'm saying backwards here.
It's an F hole, right?
No, it's a different kind of F hole. It's just a mistake. It's
It's
a
how
problem.
the wood was, yeah.
Yeah, and it came off of the barn that way. And so that's a barn board. That came out of a barn, but the guy put the top on it, so it's a hollow body.
Wow.
A guy named Chris Capozzoli out of North Carolina. And then this is a handmade wood pick guard, right?
Oh, I like the wood pick guard. That's
Yeah,
nice.
isn't it cool?
Yeah.
And so it's custom as it can be. It's just, I love it. And the guy came to a show in North Carolina, and I saw this guitar, and I was like, I got to have this thing. And it's got cool Seymour Duncan pickups on it.
Yep.
And so I just had to have it just because there's not another thing like it.
That's really,
You know?
it's a really interesting, unique looking thing. And it has a unique sound too. Hey, Darrell, could we ask you to play one more song for us yet tonight? Because we're having fun here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And hey, can I announce just a couple of things that I'm doing? I'm actually leaving the house and doing a tour like next week.
That's thrilling, right? You
I
have
know.
a gig. You have a gig,
Right.
man.
But didn't you do that gig down in Key West?
I did. I actually went down because I could drive there from here.
Exactly. And I'm
Yeah, I
driving
love it
too,
down.
but a longer way. So I'm doing that same thing
I love it down there.
on March 1st. I do too.
Yeah.
The food, the sunshine, and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a live stream there March 1st. I think it's a Monday for that Old Town New Folk series there. Then we're doing a, whatever they call it when there's half the audience so that it's not the same.
Socially distanced audience?
It's definitely socially distanced, and they only sell half the tickets for
Right.
Bonita Springs, Florida Arts Center on the 5th of March and the 6th of March, Safety Harbor, Florida show and a workshop, a songwriting workshop during the day. And
Nice.
so-
That's a nice route.
I know. And then I'm going to get some seafood, and I'm going to go to that Salvador Dali Museum for the first
Oh,
time.
I've never been to that thing.
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
going.
is that cool? People will let us know in the comments. Is the Salvador Dali worth it? I got to think it is.
Yeah, let's think that. Let's hope so. So food, see some friends on the way down in Jacksonville. We're taking our camper and our dog.
nice.
Dog Miller will go.
And
So,
when
yeah,
you go
we're-
to the Salvador Dali Museum, you'll go, hello, Dali, Salvador Dali. It's so nice to have the spiders up the wall. Is that it? And kind of, right?
Yeah, that'll work.
Something like that.
I will do that. So that's what's coming up, and we haven't traveled in forever because all of our gigs are gone. You know that.
Yeah,
we
but
all
if you
know.
do it in an RV like you're going to do it in a camper, you'll be just fine, I think.
Exactly. So in that camper, we have our own bathroom, we have our own bed, and we have our own kitchen.
That's nice.
And so, we wear the mask and the gloves. I do the whole bit.
Do you own the RV, the camper?
Absolutely.
Do you want to rent it out to me?
When do you want it?
I'll
You want me
send
to
you an
drop
email.
it by
I'll send you an
after the
email.
Salvador Dali gig?
I'll send you an email.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we love that thing. So that's what I'm heading off to. It's a truck with a camper on the back, not hauling it, but on the bed of the truck like your grandpa used to have.
Yep.
That's what I've got. And so off we go for our first gig. I can't even remember the last time I was in it. Sometime last fall, maybe. So anyway, that's what we're up to. And yes, I will do another song. On my crop circle, barn board, topped guitar. Here we go. Well, I wish I was a chauffeur, California New Year's Eve, driving around a pretty lady with a hanky up her sleeve. I would light her Tiparillos, just as civil as you please. Well, I wish I was a diver on on a ship with Jacques Cousteau. I'd get a picture in our rubber suits so that everyone would know. Hey, you really know Jacques? I say, yeah, just look at this. I show it everywhere I go. Jacques Cousteau, Jacques Cousteau. Well, I wish I was a cartoon. I wish I was Peter Pan. Then I could fly away from sorrow and never have to feel like a man. You ask me why I'm still a child boy. Well, it's just because I am, Sam, I am. Well, I wish I had a cabin on the top of some big hill. I'd build a fire every evening and listen to the whippoorwill. Eat my food out of a garden and drink my whiskey from a still. Yes, I will. Well, I wish I was the diamond on the back of your skinny little hand. Then I could keep my eye on you, girl. Maybe then I'd understand how you just leave us all weeping just to prove that you still can. You still can. You still got it. Oh, you still got it, babe. Don't worry about that. You still can.
Darrell Scott. Wow. Woo! What's that song called, Darrell?
I wish.
I wish.
I
Awesome.
wish.
Wow.
I wish I would
this riff, though, I think this riff.
Yeah.
That
That's
sounds
borrowed
big.
from something. I don't know what it is.
Something. Darrell Scott, my guest tonight, and our friends are highly recommending the Dali Museum. The Dali Museum. Ken Rayback says it's a wall-to-wall masterpieces.
That's
Awesome.
fantastic because I've only seen a couple of dollies. One was in a Glasgow museum, and it was fantastic. It was the crucifixion one.
Yeah.
Whoa. So, yeah, I want to get my socks blown off.
Yeah, it sounds likely to happen. And then my
Yeah.
friend Woj says that Miller will like Dolly too. So that's kind of
Oh.
interesting. The dog's eye view.
Well, he is a service dog, so I'll get him in there.
Is his service like curating art? Is that?
I think that day he will be. Yeah. With a grouper sandwich in his vest.
Oh,
for me.
He's such. I look forward to meeting Miller one of these days.
He's great. He's the greatest dog I've ever heard about.
Hey everybody, Darrell Scott. Thank you, Darrell.
Thank you, Susan. It was great to see you,
It's
even
great
in
to
this
see you,
virtual
too.
fashion.
I know. I look forward to seeing you in person, and maybe we'll finally get to do the Stoughton Opera House together.
Wouldn't that be cool?
I would really like that.
Yeah, we need a night where we just throw down. You know, we
I look
did
forward to
tonight, but like
And-
a stage.
And also, like, get to, play, like, set each other up and do the whole bit.
Yeah, let's do that, okay? Let's find our spot.
All right, hon. Bye.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Darrell. You're the best.
Thank you, thank you.
Darrell Scott, everybody. Okay, that's talent. I'm saying. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. And we'll see you next week for I Enjoy